Welcome back to Above Average. We are your co-hosts. I'm Alex Payetta. This is Lorissa Violet. And today we have a very special episode. I work with clients all day long that are very, very busy. And maybe they have a mix of parenting, they have high-powered careers, they have businesses to run, they have households to manage. And one thing that I hear so often when we really dive into the details about how their life is running is that they are completely exhausted by the time they get to bed at the end of the night. They are dead tired. They want to collapse into bed. You know who has other ideas for the bed, though? Their husbands. And it's hard. It's hard when sex becomes a chore. And I have heard this so many times from so many women that when Lorissa told me she met Cindy Scharkey, I was so excited. Cindy is going to tell us all about what is happening, why this happens, and what we can do about it. So before we dive in, Cindy, can you give us a little bit of your background? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm going to give you my little gifts because I brought you each a little vulva sucker.
Yes,
Since we're going to be talking about body parts today.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I actually brought you lube too, but we'll talk about that as it comes.
Oh, all right.
Wow. Okay.
Good times.
Kicking it off.
That's right. I've been a nurse for almost 4 decades now and worked with women a lot of those years, did a lot of OBGYN, labor and delivery, all the things, started with education. And I just found that women didn't have the education about their bodies, sex, pleasure, that they needed to really have freedom and give themselves permission and enjoy a healthy sex life. And then I had 3 daughters. So I raised 3 girls, and just girls were in my home all the time. All the girls, just so many girls. And they just all had so many questions. And I realized just from day one, people do not get the education nor ongoing education that we need. And so here we are.
Here we are.
For some reason, I'm super comfortable talking about sex.
Have you always been that way?
No.
Okay.
I grew up in a really...
Like it didn't come from your mom
No.
No.
I talk to my mom now more in her 80s than I did as a teenager, and that's me talking to her. So, I think it kind of evolved through nursing school.
Interesting.
Yeah, and just figuring out none of us knew anything and, educating myself. And then I married a really open, communicative partner, and we were together for, 4 decades. And I think we helped each other learn how to be more comfortable. I was lucky that way.
Because I think there's 2, this is a topic, for me, I do not care to talk about it. But I don't know where that came from. And I think that's probably common for a lot of women. I know you're super comfortable to talk about it. Great. And there's nothing, obviously, I'm not like, oh, don't say these words or something. It's just, I wasn't raised that way. It was almost like we just kind of don't talk about it, which I know is not good. And I think about that with my own kids. Now I have 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl. And I think how, I don't even remember anybody saying like, hey, we're going to have this talk or something like, whatever that looked like. And then how I'm going to handle that with my own kids. But I do feel like probably, I would assume most women that you talk to, are they uncomfortable? Like, is it,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Exactly what you're describing.
You know?
Like no one talked to me growing up, and I've had to learn how to talk about things. And it doesn't feel comfortable because so often it's just silenced. Sexual health is a silenced topic.
I don't know why I feel so comfortable talking about it. It wasn't discussed in my household. I love the topic. But I have as long as I can remember. Like I was in the sorority house teaching younger girls how to use vibrators. Like
no issue over here.
I just love it. So I'm so glad that Lorissa agreed to have you on.
Well, you know what's great is this encompasses all women. Like some are where you are, some are where you are. We're
if someone came up to me in a sorority house and said, "Here's a vibrator," I would call 911. I would be like,
"Oh my,
get out of here!"
Happened. She was having challenges,
get out of here,
and I helped her. But yes, I hear you.
I'm also curious. So I grew up in a very religious household. And there's kind of like this weird dichotomy around the topic because obviously there's like on one biblical aspect, it's like make all the babies, you know, that's like kind of what there is. But then there's also this other aspect where it's like, it's sacred and it's, you know, it's all these things. So it's like heavy, but also do it a lot and have babies. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of this like weird twofold to it. So maybe that's also where for me, or I don't know. I mean, I met you at the Mom Co, which, you know, is very faith-based. So I wonder if that has something to do with it too.
I would say, based on my experience, you know, working with women all these years, that there's a lot of that. It's sort of, you know, a lot of people are raised in higher controlled religion and or just really strict upbringings, where there's not a lot of language and education around our bodies, how they function, like normalizing normal things. And then that makes it really hard then to then get in a relationship, decide you're going to share your sexuality with someone else and have no context, not a lot of context, right, around your body. It's how it works for arousal, what desire looks like, you know, all of these things. So this is where women end up coming to me because they can't bridge that gap, you know, overnight. It doesn't, you can't snap a finger and have it all be, you know, learned and known. And because sex is a learnable skill. Just like talking about sex is a learnable skill. It's not natural. I mean, in the sense of everyone thinks it's just going to be like the fairy tales, and it's a skill that you learn.
So tell me more about when women come to you and how you help them.
A lot of women come to me trying to tap into desire. So really feeling like they can't access their desire. There's things that are making it hard to do that. Also, ideas are arousal. Like, how do I get my body turned on? Or how does my body work like that? A lot of women in perimenopause and then menopause are making this shift with our bodies, our hormones, and then sex is painful, or, you know, again, desire is harder to tap into, or my libido's in the tank, you know, that kind of thing. So I think that's a lot of what women come to me for, to talk through and, you know, come to solutions. I mean, this is why I wrote the book, honestly, is because I feel like everyone thinks it's the sex. And truly, it's a lot about the roots underneath that.
Yeah, I'm curious how much of actual sexual intimacy or sexual pleasure you think is actually emotional or mental blocks. Like, is it always, I would imagine it's not always physical, right? There has to be some sort of like mental drain or emotional drain or some other thing that you're getting to the root of as well.
It's all connected. And it's a lot about, too, our nervous system. And can we get our nervous system?
It always comes back to the nervous system.
Here we are. We're all one, right?
Yes.
And we don't know how to regulate our nervous system to create openness to pleasure. And that's what you need, is that kind of regulated, open and calm nervous system to receive pleasure in a lot of ways. Also, just the mental load. I mean, you all are in the thick of it, you know.
Yeah.
Your mind is just spinning all the time.
Totally. And I wonder, too, if it's, I mean, this would maybe be a question, but is it really a desire issue, or is it everything else? Because there's certainly times I don't lack desire for my husband, but I'm like, I am so tired. You're so tired. I'm so touched out. I've been nursing people for like 4 years straight. It's not a desire issue. Maybe women think it's a desire issue, but then you get into it with them and it's not a desire issue. Do you see that?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Well, for one, your energy for sex comes from, we talked about this when you heard me speak.
Yes.
Everyone thinks there's a separate energy tank for sex. There's only one tank.
Yeah, there's only one tank of energy, and
so
pulling
if
everywhere.
You've got a baby on your breast and another one on your hip, and you're taking care of your aging parent, and you're working a full-time job, and I mean, your energy is, I mean, really, it's hard to access energy for sex then, right? And we think somehow we're supposed to find it somewhere special, and it's going to come from the same place. And what we find is that people that really have a time, you know, really have a hard time, like getting aroused and staying aroused for sex, a lot of that is due to fatigue, tiredness.
Yeah.
So you start at the top of the show saying like your whole day, right? And then you get to night. Well, I mean, night for this age and stage where y'all are, or actually so many of us, it's the worst time for sex.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
But it's maybe for a lot of us the only time where the kids are asleep.
Exactly.
And the only opportunity. But I see this, and the nervous system piece I think is so important. And I think this is why I see it so often with my clients, because they're often very high achieving women. And they're go, go, go all day long. And as we've talked about so many times on this podcast, that can completely destroy your nervous system. You are stuck in fight or flight.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to then feel safe and calm and open to just magically transition at the end of the night. Men are different though.
They can be.
A lot of
I don't know. Because I think the same, I mean, my husband will go in phases. I don't see, he's going to be like, why are you talking about this? But my husband also is like, I am so tired. I am so drained. I am go. His brain is like firing on, all day. And he's such a creative person. He's doing 100 things that I will say, obviously, when we were younger, when he didn't have as much going on, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, we can get down right now. But now it's just not. And like, I will go to bed. I mean, most nights I go to bed before he does, and he's still working into the wee hours of the night. So I don't know if it's just, I don't have the experience where it's like,
you don't.
Michael's like, hey, and I'm like, no. It's kind of both of us in
Mutual.
like a season of life.
I would say most women, at least that I work with, report that their husbands are always wanting it, and then they feel like they need to give it, and then it becomes a chore and an obligation. And that's what I hear most
I
frequently.
hear this often.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when sex is a chore or an obligation, it's really difficult to move into having to be pleasurable.
Yes.
So this is a real concern, like for me when I'm working with clients, because you want to be having sex that's pleasurable. Pleasurable sex leads to more pleasurable sex.
Of course.
So I think that when women can come to this, if they're coming to it in this way, there's a few education pieces that are key. One is how desire really works. And that's some of what you're bringing up is desire isn't always, spontaneous where you want sex out of the blue. Like you're describing, you see your husband and you're like, oh, you're hot. Get over here. Like a lot of people don't.
Like in the movies, you're just like making breakfast and next thing you know.
Exactly. Or just new relationship energy. And that doesn't last forever, right? So what we need people to understand is that you can come to desire from what we call responsive desire, which is your body or mind or imagination wakes up or turns on or, is aroused, maybe like your, husband's kissing up your neck and telling you you're beautiful and you're doing the dish and they're doing the dishes. Let's swap it. And you feel like, oh, a little tingly, like, oh, I like that. I want more. That is a really normal way to come to desire. Do you see the difference rather than, oh, I just want sex out of the blue. That just doesn't happen for a lot of women.
It's Friday night. Yeah.
You know what? I've had this thought before. We have unfortunately had many friends, even at our age, going through divorce. And I always think about this in terms of sex and desire and all of that. I've just a thing that I've thought about, and I'm curious your thoughts. When you enter into a new relationship, I think there's inherently desire there because it's exciting, it's new, it's kind of like uncharted territories. And then you wake up one day and you've been married for 10 years and you're like, oh, this isn't fun anymore. And then I'm just assuming it's not my case. Obviously, I've been happily married. But then you want to jump to the next thing. But the problem is that then that's just going to keep happening. Like it's not the person, maybe it is, but maybe it's not the person, but it's like that desire has to be re-invoked like it was when you first met. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it kind of, you have to get it in a different way. And now maybe I think people are like, oh, I'm going to find it with someone else. But maybe there's a way to find it within your spouse that you just don't know how to get there. Does that make sense?
What a good question.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
I think about this often because we have friends who are like, oh my gosh, yeah. And I met this new partner. It's so fun and exciting. I'm like, yes, but one day it won't be fun and exciting. And then you can't go and do this again,
And this is where people they're so used to what they see in the media and read in romance novels, but there's just a real intention around sex being great for the long term and having really quality sex and sexual satisfaction. I mean, in the research, it's the people describing having extraordinary sex are over 50. Okay? And some of that is because we are intentional. We've learned how to pivot. We feel more freedom, right? We know we got to create the environment. And what do we got to do for ourselves to turn ourselves on? And we do that. And I think as people age and go through stages in a relationship, they don't think about this piece of being intentional, adding variety, communicating about how things are and how you want things, and then taking action around that. It's not going to just happen, just like anything else in your life.
Gosh, I think intention is something that comes up with so many of our guests, and I feel very passionately about it. I think the more intentional you are about all aspects of your life, it grows. But I was just talking to somebody, and it really illustrates this. She said she sat down for the new year, and she was thinking about her goals. And one of her goals was to reinvigorate her and her husband's sex life because they had just had a kid. So she went to him, and she said, okay, what I want to start going to this sex club that I've always wanted to go to. And it started this amazing conversation where he came where he's like, you know what, I'm not ready for that because of how I'm feeling about my body. And they were able to talk about all these things that then strengthen their relationship in so many other ways because now they can work on their fitness together and their health. And she knows how to kind of bolster him up and help with his self-esteem. And oh my gosh, and then they're slowly making their way to her goal. So beautiful. But that took, the first step was sitting down and what do I want my life to look like this year? I want my sex life to improve.
Okay, what is a sex club? What does that even mean?
Cindy, do you want to
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, a sex club is like you can go and you can have sex in public with other people around that are with you, or you can kind of swap partners. It's kind of a way to explore your sexuality that is different than maybe other people than you are interested in.
Yeah,
that
would be a no for me. But okay.
There's so many, I don't know. This is probably honestly more my realm. I love this kind of stuff. So I think I attract people that want to talk to me about it because I'm like, tell me about your kinks, tell me what you're interested. I love this stuff.
Okay.
But regardless of what the goal is, it doesn't have to be to go to a sex club. I think the beauty of it is the intention was there to really bolster a part of her life that had kind of gone to the wayside when you have kids, because that is a really big turning point for so many couples.
So what is, I know there's going to be people listening who want to have that conversation and either A, don't know how to start that conversation or are maybe afraid that they're not going to get such positive feedback from their spouse, or the spouse might get offended, or the spouse might say or take it personally or something like that. What do you think? What do you say to that?
Yeah.
Because I think that to me sounds like very nuanced, that she's like, hey, I want to go to a sex club. And then the guy's like, yeah, let me just work out and then let's get after it. Like that seems maybe not the norm.
I feel like they had that relationship before though. Like clearly they were on the same page about their sex before. It wasn't like out of nowhere. It was like, this is,
okay.
You know
but
what
to
I mean?
dial it back,
to
dial it back would be to say, and ideally, this is when you're walking around the block or you're driving in the car together with no kids. You're not like this, hi, and you, because it's hard. That's hard, right?
Yeah.
But it's coming to your spouse and saying, our sex life is really important to me. And I know so many things have gotten in the way. And I really would like to be more intentional about our relationship and connecting and the intimacies that we, remember how we use, this. And I wonder how you feel about it. And do you feel the same? Like, do you want to be more intentional? What do you think we could do here? And then only pick one thing that you want to kind of, could we set aside a date to just do this? Or could we listen to this podcast episode and talk about the things that were brought up together? Or, one thing to jumpstart that conversation, not the whole boatload of everything you're not happy with or you want to do or try.
Yes.
Or it's better one thing at a time.
Got it.
But opening that conversation in a back and forth way, then if your partner isn't quite has no idea it's coming, you're giving them a little framework to marinate a little, and then or even say, hey, come back to me. Let's circle back and see what we think after we think about it. But
I love the way you phrased
people
it.
don't do this. They talk about everything else but sex.
I know.
Yeah. No, that is true. It seems like it just kind of takes the back burner of everything else that has to be discussed. It's not
the
prioritized in like the thing, the big scheme of things.
We talk
when it
about
should
this
be.
with time management all the time. It's the things that are urgent and right there with a deadline. Those are the things that get handled first. And so when you have a million urgent things in your life, then these things like a sex life that don't have nobody's like knocking on your door, making sure that you get it handled. It's just something that you have to still carve out time for that isn't urgent.
I do really feel like if people could take sex out of the small box they have it in too, it would really serve them. So what do I mean by that?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I just think people have such a framework for sex, looking a certain way, being a certain way. It's only this, or it's only in this place, and sex is much more than that. And it can be much more than that. And I think in this stage that y'all are in, well, anyone's stage, life can, like you said, take it off the table. And yet we can institute ways to spark intimacy and connection. And then those things can be very sexual and sensual. They don't necessarily mean intercourse or oral sex or, it doesn't, there's just a way bigger pot or basket of what could be sexual connection and intimacy.
So I'm curious where you would have somebody start. So even from my personal experience, I have an 8-month-old daughter. And I feel like after my first two, my sex drive came back pretty quickly. Like I'm like, screw the 6 weeks. Like, let's go, baby. Not the case with this third. So I feel like I can really start to relate to my clients. It's just different. Like I'm 8 months. I'm like, when is this going to really kick in? And where would you start? Would you start at looking at energy levels? Would you start, like, what do you recommend when somebody's feeling that way? Like they want to find the desire again, but for some reason it's harder to find than normal.
It's so normal though. This
yeah.
is normal.
Oh yeah.
This is just a normal way in this stage and phase. I think what I love women to do is to ask themselves, what do you want? And also, how do you, this is Gina Ogden's a way back. How do I turn myself on and how do I turn myself off? And what are the things that are turning me off? And I do a lot of exercises in the book around this because this is big for women. Because whatever's turning you off or pushing your brakes, like the fatigue, postpartum, your this, those things are going to override your on or your go every time. So it's kind of sitting with ourselves and saying, what are those things? And can I, release some of those offs? Or can I ask my partner to help me with some of those things? What are they? I think that's key. I also think looking at our own bodies, understanding where they are in the phase and stage they are right now, wherever that is, and then even just touching yourself, if you're not comfortable with self-pleasure, even just acknowledging and touching yourself and recognizing your body, where she is right now, what she's gone through, what she's done for you, how she's doing that, and then getting more in touch with her in that way. Women don't do this. I mean, I didn't until I was 50, and I do think sensuality is the other piece. And we talked about this when I spoke at your event, is use your senses to access pleasure in your body. So when you use your senses, you can only do that in the moment. it's really a juicy way to walk around in the world. What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you see? What do you hear? And then where do you feel that pleasure in your body? And just sitting with that and soaking that up is, I have the chills because it's a beautiful way to start walking around in the world. You really start to feel more pleasure in your body.
Oh, you're more present. I think that's what you're saying,
Because
right?
your senses are only in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in
You
the
have
past,
to
not in the
land.
future.
You can't be in your mind. You can't be thinking about a million other things. If you're thinking about all your senses, you're truly landed in the moment.
And the other key for this stage postpartum, is to transition. I call it transition time. I mean, if you could allow yourself 5, 10, 15 minutes to get in touch with your body. Dry brush your whole body, take a shower, take a quick bath, dance to one song, get naked and stretch. I don't know. Whatever change your clothes, brush your hair. I don't know. Whatever helps you feel present in your body before you're going to initiate sex. I think for young moms especially, it's kind of a way of taking off all the hats you're wearing and going, oh, hey, there I am. Wow. Here I am.
It's me.
That's
It's
interesting.
me.
Yeah. Remember me? This old gal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting. That's like the transition between, I work with this a lot with my clients, from work to home. Because sometimes, I work in my office, right? And then when I go relieve my nanny, I'm turning on a completely different hat.
Yes.
It is like a way different role. Now I'm going into the 3 kids and I'm really in mom mode versus instead being in work mode. And there's an intentional transition that has to happen in order for that to be smooth and not for me to keep thinking about work and everything else and kind of, I don't know. It's very transitional. So I think this is one step further. It's like, okay, and then when I put the mom hat down, the kids are asleep, then it's, all right, now I'm taking on my other hat or my other role.
Yes.
And how do I get in touch with my body and my husband? It's a very intentional, though, all the way through.
What do you think about scheduling time for intimacy?
I'm so glad.
Pro or con?
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Because this is
question.
always that people hate it.
People hate it.
Husbands, I kind of feel kind of hate it.
I think it's just personality and how you come to intimacy, sort of. But here's the thing: we schedule everything else in our lives. So call it something else. Don't call it calendaring it or say our sexy time. Could we just set aside, Sunday at this time? Everybody, whatever time can work for you. And not the last thing on your list at 11 o'clock at night, preferably, but some other time. And look forward to it and anticipate it together with each other. This is why, holiday hotel sex or vacation sex is so great for people, right? Because you're looking forward to it. You kind of plan for it. You maybe bring a few things you bring some lube or you have the stuff ready because you're looking forward to time to, connect. It can be the same. So sure, stuff's going to come up. Maybe one of the kids gets the flu, is throwing up. You're like, hey, we got to reschedule, But I do think there's a sense of anticipation that creates and sparks desire and arousal. And that is super helpful to reframe scheduling sex.
Okay, I have a question. First of all, I love scheduling sex because we schedule everything. And if I don't schedule it, I think it
doesn't happen.
It's just not going to happen. And it doesn't mean you can't add more. So I don't know. My husband loves it. It could be a personality thing. The question I have, though, what happens if instead of anticipation, it begins to feel like dread? What do you do then?
I think my bigger question underneath that is the sex you're having pleasurable?
Yeah.
Or is it not pleasurable?
Check the box.
Are you checking the box? And I just think that women don't give themselves enough time for really good arousal. I mean, women's arousal takes more than 5 minutes that like you see in the movies. It's really more like 20, even to 40 for maximum arousal, for maximum orgasmic potential. I mean, we have a whole clitoral network, right?
I'm like, what are you going to pull out of that bag?
This is not,
What are you going to pull out of that bag?
the clitoris is not just a button. It's a whole network of tissue. And it takes time for that, to happen. And a lot of it's behind, I'm putting it out. So behind the tissues of the vulva, it's all back behind. And we don't allow ourselves time to let all of these tissues that are erectile tissue with thousands and thousands of nerve endings, we don't allow ourselves time to access all that pleasure.
Wow, wait, okay. Hold up your ornament again. This is the clitoris that we can see.
There you go.
And all that's under, I didn't know that.
And all of this is behind.
Wow.
These bulbs, these legs. I mean.
And then what I learned when I heard her speak last time is that its sole function in the body is pleasure.
I mean, it is.
Right?
We're starting to learn more and more research around what other things it could be doing. But mainly its main function is pleasure. And it's just has so much capability and capacity. I know, I get so excited.
So it's
I
a
know,
gift
I
from
get it.
God, ladies.
I mean,
okay?
you were designed.
This is a
You were
God-given
designed to
design.
experience all kinds of pleasure. And I do feel what I see is women don't know how to access that.
Yeah.
They don't ask for what they need. They don't allow themselves the time. They say they take too long or whatever it is. Like, no, it is available for pleasure.
I think a lot of it's the media too, to your point. We were watching, what is it, Friends and Neighbors, which I love the show. I know you're not a TV person, but in the show, everyone's having sex all the time. And it's like this couple that has 2 young kids, and all of a sudden the husband's watching TV in the bed and the wife comes in and she's just randomly ready to go. And then they hop to it. And I'm like, this is the most unrealistic thing I've ever heard. What is this?
It's more like, have you seen the movie? I think it's called This Is 40 with,
I haven't.
she's like, we can. I'm pretty tired. We can do it.
We'll do it for you.
I'm curious. Well, I'm sure this is very common. Well, I don't know. Let me ask. I truly feel like I have PTSD because I got pregnant with my second child on the first time of having sex upon giving birth. So I gave birth to baby number 1. The very first time we had sex, I got pregnant. And all the books were like, you can't get pregnant. You're nursing around the clock. You haven't gotten your period back. You're not going to get pregnant. And we got pregnant. Then with baby number 3, I was like kind of diehard in the app, like not a fertile window, chances of getting pregnant, 0%. And now we have baby Jaja. So I think both of us, because I said one day, I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like I have a little bit of PTSD. Like it feels like every time we have sex, we get pregnant, or it's not, I mean, thank you God for these children, but it's not like we're not out here like trying so hard to get pregnant. We just do. And he was like, yeah, kind of me too. Cause it's like, oh my gosh, we literally just had sex at one time. And then now we have all these kids. So I don't know if that's like a common thing for people too. Or I don't know if I'm like nuanced in that. But if moms are like, I just cannot handle another baby right now. So the only way to guarantee that this doesn't happen is abstinence. Like, does that sound crazy?
Well, you're describing an off.
It's an off.
You're describing a break, right?
Yeah.
You're describing almost like a handbrake, the kind of a simmering, on the under the surface all the time break of fear, of fear getting pregnant. This is very normal, of course, right?
Okay.
You're just totally like, yes. And so what to do about that is,
vasectomy. No, I'm just kidding.
well, it's either it's either birth control options, right? Or also, again, can we take sex out? Can we take sex into a bigger box and decenter the penis? And can we open that box up to be things other than intercourse if we have such a fear of pregnancy? I mean, people aren't going to like me for this, but hey, most women also don't orgasm from penetration alone. The majority of women don't orgasm from penetration alone. So I'm just kind of throwing that in here, right?
I'm sweating over here.
I'm
like literally sweating.
We need other kinds of stimulation to reach orgasm. So I guess I'm bringing this up in here because I can't stand not to at least address this issue. But also this underlying fear is a very normal break for men and women. You're completely, of course, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And what'd we say? The brakes are going to override your accelerator every time.
Yeah. But it's also weird I've never once thought, well, I don't know, maybe my husband has, but I haven't thought like, oh, we can do other things but not have intercourse. Like it's not, it's like duh, but your brain doesn't go there. Almost it's like we're either having intercourse or
Nothing.
it's not sex.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
Yeah,
I don't know, probably a lot of people think that too.
Totally.
That's how we've been raised up in the soup.
Yeah.
Right, so to speak. So this is such a beautiful conversation you could have, right? Or anyone listening, of like, what else would be fun to add to our sexual menu, or however you want to, our bucket of what we could do. I think it would be so fun to explore some other things, using our hands, using our fingers, using toys, using our mouths. Like, I just think people don't have these kinds of conversations. And so then they don't open the box together. And I'll be honest, women especially, and as we get older, we want variety. We don't want the same old, same old. The research is pretty clear. We want different.
God, that was my biggest fear about getting married. I was like, I don't think I can like have sex with the same person my whole life. And luckily, I met my husband. He had the same fear, and I'm like, oh, good. We'll be good then. We'll figure out ways to keep it interesting. But yeah, I need variety.
That's it. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm from camp, save sex till marriage, get married, have sex with one man for the rest of your life. And so even that, you would need to have variety, because otherwise you're going to be like, I've had this same penis for 40 years. We got to start mixing it up, honey. Like, what are we going to do over here?
But people are so afraid to do this or have a conversation around like, hey, what would be fun to do different? And this is the thing. You don't have to hang from the chandeliers. Okay, you can. Like, please do.
If you want to.
Right? But it really is the research shows it's like a 4% change. You only have to change things up a little bit to make it more interesting.
To feel more.
And so that's not hard, right? Like, add a pillow, use a different room, like sit in a chair, go hide in the bathroom with the door locked. I mean, use the kitchen table when no one's okay. I'm just going on, but
these are great ideas.
Like, just do something different. You don't have to, like have sex on the stairs. I don't know, keep your shoes on. Don't take all your clothes off. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We make it so hard, and it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. But I do think a lot of it came from, if you're in my camp, or maybe a lot of us who learned from just watching movies or whatever, you're like, oh my gosh, we're supposed to be in full face makeup with a blowout, and we're supposed to have really good lingerie that came from La Perla, and that otherwise, it's probably not worth doing, kind of a thing. I mean,
Totally. Oh, 100%.
I think so much about this is also vulnerable. Like, in order to have the conversations that you're saying, it is very vulnerable to share, even with your husband, the person that you have committed your life to, what you desire and want in the bedroom. I feel like that is a big hurdle in and of itself.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And I say, it's uncomfortable to talk about sex if you're not used to talking about it. It's vulnerable. And you almost have to sign up like, okay, I'm gonna lean into the uncomfortable. I'm
jumping in.
I'm gonna say this. I can even say to my husband, this is so uncomfortable, but like, I think it would be really fun to try, or whatever.
Yeah.
Call it out. Say, I feel kind of vulnerable, because you might say no, or you might not be into it, but what do you think about? Like, be honest and see, hopefully you're in a safe, loving relationship where the response will be, well, let me think about that.
Yeah.
Or use the yes, no, maybe even. Like, I would really like to have oral sex more. Is that like a yes for you, a no, a maybe? And then let them have options and then revisit the conversation, things like that.
I love that.
You kind of already asked this, but for someone listening where it just feels like a lot today, when we're going to go home, what's one thing, and probably more in my camp, less in Alex's camp, where it feels vulnerable, or it feels, I don't know, I just had these babies and whatever, it feels heavy. What's step one? Like, one thing to go home and do? Is it personal introspection? Is it having the conversation with a husband? Does that depend on personality or what you want as the outcome? Like, what's that first step?
I love this question. And you already answered it. I mean, I feel like, and why I wrote the book the way I did, I think women need to sit with themselves first.
Step one, buy the book. That's that.
No, I just do.
Yeah.
I just, it's like I have so many exercises in there, so many journaling prompts, so many questions to ask
Oh,
yourself.
wow.
So
Okay,
many
good.
exercises around like the things that really prompt your desire and your arousal or don't, or breaks, or do you need more affection in the relationship that doesn't lead to sex? Like all of these things that I hear over and over and over again. But for someone listening and they think, wow, I'm overwhelmed, right? Just do this one thing, which is sit with yourself. Ask yourself just a few questions around this topic. How do I feel about my sexuality? Your sexuality is your own first before you share it with anyone else. It's your own first. How do you feel about your sexuality, your body, pleasure? Like what comes up for you? Do a little journaling prompt about it, or if you have a safe if you're with a therapist, talk about it with a therapist, or, but you can sit with yourself and just ask these questions around your body, sex, pleasure, and what do I want? You are worthy of pleasure and wanting. You're worthy of wanting. What do you want? Then you can communicate it with a partner.
I think having the prompts is super helpful as a framework of where to start and because I also think many people probably don't even know.
Yes.
I know I want to change, or I know I want something different, but I don't know what that looks like.
Yes, and that's the typical answer I get. I don't know.
I feel like I hear a lot, oh, it's my hormones. Like I need to figure out my hormones. I hear that probably from 9 out of 10 women I talk to. And then it's kind of just another thing that's put to the side. But and maybe there's a component to that. I don't know. There probably is part of that. But I think there's also everything else that you're talking about. Like maybe it's not just hormones. Maybe there's other breaks, as you said, and other things that are stopping you, other maybe more deeper things that you'll find when you start journaling.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be hormones. It could be hormones changing. It could be hormones dropping. And that's a piece to the puzzle. But the research and science is pretty clear. It's not the only piece, like you're saying. So it's all of these things that take investigation and advocating for ourselves. Yeah.
Do you have a number a goal, a target number for how often a couple should have sex for a healthy relationship?
One of the number one questions that I'm asked every time.
Oh, that's cool.
Totally.
Like what's the number? Because sometimes people are like, yeah, we have sex all the time. We have sex once a month. And then I talk to other couples who are like, we have tried to have sex once a day. We try, so maybe it's different per couple, but for a healthy relationship, how many times, what is the frequency of the couple should have sex?
There isn't a magic number.
Okay.
And frequency is one of the biggest things people ask about, especially if there is conflict in the relationship over frequency, which is very normal. I mean, the number one reason people come to sex therapy, say, is desire discrepancy. Somebody wants sex more than the other person, and they're in conflict about it. Now, this is what we found, is that if the frequency of the sex you're having is not an issue for either of you, then that's your number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meaning, if you both are content having sex once every other week and nobody's in conflict about it, then you're great. Your sexual satisfaction is probably pretty high, right? But if somebody wants sex once a week and you only have it once a month, and that person has conflict over it, then there's going to be conflict in the relationship. So it is really individual, and yet we do see in the research the more connective, pleasurable sex you have, the more you tend to want.
Okay. That makes sense.
I know you wanted a strict answer.
A strict answer.
It just
3 times
work.
per week. Yeah.
It just doesn't
that
work
makes
for couples.
sense. That makes sense.
Everyone has such different desires and needs.
Yes.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the hard part is, and this is something I think about a lot, is when you had a frequency before kids and then you've added 3 kids and your frequency is different. And then how do you figure it out? And I think that's probably like an ongoing reevaluation, because it might change for one person and not the other. There's just so many things. And I also feel like it's a little unfair. Might be controversial, but I feel like I'm pretty lucky with my sex drive, but I feel like I married my husband and we had a frequency that we were both aligned on, and we both had very similar sex drives. And I think that now if I fast forward 7 years and I say, hey, sorry, I've had 3 kids, mine's down in the dumps, like you're kind of screwed. I don't think that's fair to him. Like I think I have an obligation as his wife, and we made this commitment together to work that out. And it doesn't mean just going to his frequency, whatever he wants. But I do think it takes a little bit of, I don't know, like work on that. I just feel like it's a little unfair.
I think that's a really good conversation to have, because that will help. If there is conflict, that may help resolve the conflict. A lot of couples, like, I know you're not going to like this word, but negotiate frequency, I mean, so to speak, in the sense of they'll say in this, like, say you're post 3 kids and you're like, I'm tanked, but I want to stay connected. So, we call it maintenance sex in the business, kind of like you're having maintenance sex sometimes, where it's sort of more for one partner than the other, and it's sort of for continued connection, kind of like quickies too, where quickies not, like a lot of times a woman isn't going to orgasm with a quickie because it's not long enough. It's not long enough arousal time, right? But it's fun and engaging and connecting, and so we go for the quickie, and that's not really maintenance sex, but it's just a different way in the box, right? It's not.
I think
it's something
it is
different.
maintenance sex,
and maybe
but I think that's nice not to put so much pressure on it. Like sometimes you're going to have this amazing experience, and it's going to be so pleasurable, and sometimes you're going to do maintenance sex because for whatever reason, it's what your husband wants, and that's fine too. Like,
or maybe you.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Sometimes it's just good enough.
Yeah.
People just don't like this, but I mean, sometimes it's good enough. I think so. Good enough.
Yeah, no,
sometimes.
that makes sense to me. Because I was going to say, like, on the flip side, I think it's actually, on the reverse, not fair to make the same expectation. I would be like, I had a level 3 tear and diastasis recti that I cannot heal without surgery. So your ass isn't getting it. I'm sorry. Fair. Let's, I think fair can be on the other side too.
Well, that's a good point.
Well, I'm going to throw that out the window because you didn't have to go through. So the negotiation kind of almost feels like a balance. And then the quickie feels like, okay, not like I'm checking a box, but I'm upholding my marital duty, but it also doesn't feel so heavy for me, who has literally, my body is like in shambles, Like it feels almost like a good happy medium, middle ground.
And this is going to look different for every couple, right?
Yeah.
There's no one right way. And for anyone who's watching or listening and you're a woman and you're like, I don't know what these girls are talking about because I want sex way more than my husband, you're normal too. I just want you to know. Like, it's not always one way. We're all different. These high desire women come to me every time I speak, like, what about me? I'm like, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're okay. What should we do to help your partner?
Yeah.
It goes all the way around. We're all different and unique.
Yeah. Well, and I think it fluctuates too. Well, at least in my marriage, there's different fluctuations depending on how much, like there's times when I'm not as busy and he's super busy. So we're off, our scales have tipped, so it wasn't like that when we first got together. I mean, we've been together for we've been together for a really long time. But so obviously we've just had these ebbs and flows that the scales don't tip. So it's not linear for either one of us.
Right. And like you're saying, it's an ongoing conversation to be having, because you're going to go through seasons and stages where it's hard, or one of you has a baby, or a health issue, or somebody has prostate cancer, or we're burying our parent, or all these things that are going to cause an ebb and flow in our desire and our frequency, and this is normal. And people don't know this, and so then they freak out, or they retreat, or they just extend the time longer and longer and longer, instead of saying, hey, wow, this really feels like a dry season, and I know it won't be like this forever, right? And have a little conversation like that.
I completely agree. I really like this conversation because I think it's highlighting how there's such different experiences, and none of it's permanent. I feel like the most important part, though, is that you're intentional about how you address it. Like, you're having that conversation and you're saying, damn, we're in a dry season. Like, bummer. What are we going to do to get out of it? Or are we okay? Are we both okay? Like just acknowledging this is a dry season and doing our maintenance sex for a little bit. And, but having that out in the open, so it's not this fear, like, is this now my life for the next 40 years? Or is it never going to go back? I don't know. I just feel like that's such a beautiful, open communication to have.
Yeah.
Or letting it go too long without having the conversation, and then it feels really weird because you're like, okay,
Really
now
daunting.
it's like really, yeah. I'm curious to hear more about the book. So tell us about the book, what people can expect from the book, who's a good candidate to read the book, and what activities they'll get from the book.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah. I put my whole guts into this thing for 4 years, so I really believe it's a good resource. I tried to write it in a way. I'm definitely a nurse coming at you like it's almost like this. Like I'm sitting with you, like your nurse friend, talking you through your clitoris and how arousal really works and how to tap into your desire and why you should use lube and how it's helpful and why painful sex is not okay. It's not, you don't have to read straight through. You can just pop into whatever chapter is interesting to you. But I really feel like I wrote it for any age woman. It's very interesting how it's being received, which I love. A lot of husbands are reading it and then talking about it with their wives. I mean, the pictures I get make me weep. I love it. They're like, don't post that. But look who's reading your book over here. And also a lot of moms are really finding the education in it that they really want to help their own children have better education. And so a couple of them, have said like, I wish I had this before my daughter turned, 13 or 10, or I didn't know. I feel I really want to provide better education and I don't want her going on Googling it. I want to tell her myself. So there's that piece, but then there's also, all of the over 50s that are hearing stories in it, because I put composites of all the women I've met with over 4 decades, and they're like, okay, wow, there's a lot available to me over 50, and I'm going to try this, or this sounds fun, or this might be interesting, and we can evolve and change. So it's really kind of, I don't know. I called it a retreat for women because a lot of us don't have time to go to a weekend retreat. Like I'll offer a retreat. It's so hard for people. To take the time away. So this is sort of like bite-sized retreat type education so that you can delve further into whatever interests you and with the science to back it up.
Wow, I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited to read it.
Yeah,
and it might be fun. It sounds like to read together. Like if you're trying to start the conversation with your husband and you're not sure where to start, maybe it kind of you can read a little. Maybe read this chapter or look what I learned. Like it can kind of help open the door.
That jump starting conversations with other things is so helpful. Whether you're parenting and you're reading like a book that has sexual health themes, whether you're a woman and you're really wanting to help your partner understand your body better for pleasure. If you don't like to read, I have a podcast, same title, Permission for Pleasure, and people do listen to that a ton together. Little quickie episodes where it's like, oh, but this is just about oral sex, or this is just about using your hands, or this is just about different positions, or also communication. These 24 things you can use as jump starts for. Anyway,
that's awesome.
I do think these kinds of things, like you're saying, really help open the conversation. It takes kind of the onus off one and the threat away a little bit. It to be like, make me the culprit, so to speak.
I think so. I do that with reels, like parenting reels. I'll send one to my husband and be like, hey, what do you think about this thought? I like how he's approaching this direction of talking to toddlers. And it's not so much like, hey, I think what you're doing is wrong. It's like, what do you think we could learn from this reel? And I feel like it works really well.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing.
It's a similar concept.
Yeah, love that.
What if someone listening thinks, okay, I need help. We're in a bad spot. What do you recommend? Can people do sessions with you? You talk to people one-on-one?
I do sessions with women.
With women. Okay, not couples.
Yeah, I haven't delved into that a ton.
Okay.
And I'm not a therapist. I'm a nurse. So if you have a good therapist, I think that's super helpful. A lot of therapists aren't super trained around sex, but and aren't comfortable themselves. So you do need someone who's comfortable, and maybe that means a sex therapist, perhaps. My platform is around helping women come to these questions and roots to understand the root cause around what their concerns are, and then how to communicate that with either a provider or a partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And some people meet with me for a year, 2 years. Some people meet with me on a one-off. It's just kind of, if someone's having painful sex, we might be able to, figure that out in one session, right? If it's an ongoing issue with understanding your body, or perhaps learning how to communicate with a partner about that, that might take a time or two. So it's individual.
Yeah.
Sounds like so many of our guests talk about finding the root cause of what's wrong, being intentional about solving it. Like it just sounds to me like this is so normal. This experience, we are all connected. Every single part of us is connected. So if we're really busy in our day-to-day lives, of course, we're not going to be as open and ready for sex. And it's all so normal. And this is how you can really get to the root cause and address it instead of just continuing to put off the conversation.
Yeah, and let's quit banging ourselves over the head. Let's just say, hey, this is the reality of, like you're saying, that this is where we are. Like for you, this is physically what's happening for me, and so what can we do to stay connected and be in? These kinds of conversations are going to be ongoing through our lifetime.
Totally,
it's going to be on and on and on. If we want to have a long-term, loving, connected relationship. It's going to take these kinds of conversations over and over and over again.
Well, kind of also, too, I think there's a piece of it that is not only admitting or having the conversation with your spouse, but also maybe even admitting it to yourself, because you're going to have to go and put the work in a little bit, kind of like with anything. I know there's physical or there's emotional or whatever the blocks are. Now I'm going to have to overcome those, but the work within myself is going to have me have a better marriage or whatever it is, and figuring out what that is. But I feel like there's a lot of that introspection also comes with, you're going to have to start doing the work.
Right. Which is
with
why
yourself.
You asked the first thing we need to do as women is first sit with ourselves.
Sit with ourselves. Yeah. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
So fun.
Very
Thanks
fascinating. Very interesting.
Thank
I'm
you.
super excited to read your book and dive into this. It's so crazy how so many people can have so many different experiences, but like the root and the foundation is kind of the same for everybody, and have a different outcome for it. So I'm excited. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for our vulva suckers.
Thank you for these.
Jeff's going to be thrilled.
Wait, shoot. I wanted to ask about lube. You talked about lube at our...
Should we start throwing it around?
Yes. You get lube. You get lube. It's like confetti.
Okay. Thank you so much. They call me the lube fairy, because I basically spread around lube everywhere I go.
Okay.
Because this is the thing. Sex is supposed to be pleasurable, not painful. And for a lot of vaginas that are changing, either hormonally, tissues, postpartum, perimenopause, menopausal, or maybe just in the beginning, you're just not someone who lubricates a lot. When there's too much friction, it can cause pain and micro tears. Lube, good quality lube, is the answer to that, possibly, because it decreases friction. Okay. So when you decrease friction, I have more for you. I'll keep throwing them around.
I got my confetti, my lube confetti.
When you decrease friction, right, then that may be one of your causes of pain. And so people just don't know about lube. I just don't. This is Uber Lube.
Lube.
I mean, I do love Uber Lube. You can use Cindy. I don't get a kickback. It's my code. You can get 15% off. But I'm in their professional medical community, and they provide me samples to spread the word.
Awesome.
So I sprinkle them around to everyone I see.
There we go.
There you go.
It's great.
When I saw you, you were lubes were going crazy. People were catching them. It was hilarious. So I'm glad you brought some.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. This is a really cool conversation. I think important for our audience.
All of us.
Yeah. For everyone, for
All
women.
of us. Yeah. Appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you on the next one.